all lead to the conclusion that we are transcending ourselves faster than we realize. We are becoming unrecognizable. The transformation is not going to happen. The transition is underway. It's underway.
Yeah. This is phenomenal. The transcendent object is approaching quickly.
It's emerging. It's just, well, to take one example fairly close to home to most people, the internet. I mean, the internet is the most powerful and advanced technology ever put in place. It's arisen virtually in the last 5 years. The world doesn't look substantially different. I mean, we didn't have to make highways or any of the things that other technologies have demanded, and yet really the nation state is now obsolete. So probably is the office as we know it. Corporations and nations haven't yet realized, but when they begin to understand how much money they can save through telecommuting and this sort of thing, the whole raison d'etre for clustering into enormous cities may just disappear. The other thing is, the internet is in a tremendous force for empowering the margins. All sexual minorities, all political minorities, all artistic minorities now can build very powerful communities on the internet and push their vision, whatever it is, forward. So traditionally, power to communicate and to control communication has been one of the most closely held prerogatives of the powerful. And now it's just, it's been given unto our hands. So I find that very exciting. I think that I haven't felt this kind of excitement with a new technology since the introduction of LSD. And there are similarities, to be sure.
Such as?
Well, both empower community. And the internet was largely created by people who were very much formed by that earlier revolution. I mean, the people who write VRML, the people who are putting Netscape and the new search engines and all this stuff out are freaks. I don't think they would balk at that label at all. They're people who love working in these areas because they represent the same kind of feeling of unlimited possibility that the psychedelic community had in the 60s.
Yeah. I'm just wondering about the internet. I've just been thinking about it and just getting involved in it myself, and would like to hear what you have to say about this, because the powerful have always, as you said, held a very close hand over media, and that's one of the ways they maintain their, even if somewhat false power, they still have that position. Is there a way of propagandizing the internet where a couple of powerful, or of the powerful, power-possessing beings, as they're referred to, can usurp the general community feeling or community access?
I don't really think so. I mean, I think that what the internet is so fundamentally a different beast, and here's the distinction that I would make. For at least 200, maybe 300 years, Western civilization has been largely shaped by what is called mass media. Means, first of all, newspapers, and then all the electronic mass media. The nature of mass media is what's called one-to-many communication, where a letterman or somebody speaks and millions listen and emulate. The internet is what's called any-to-any communication. You and I can have an email exchange, or I can send email to 1,000 people, or I can join a chat group of several hundred. And I think the changes are more profound than we can even imagine, because the mass media created two things which we cannot imagine living without. The idea of the public and the idea of the citizen. And these, now we hear a great deal about how society is dissolving into anarchy. What it means is there is no more public consensus. And that is because the post-electronic media personality isn't interested in following fads dictated from above in quite the same way. So instead what we have is an incredibly heterogeneous and complex society that's all niches. There's no public anymore. There's just niches. The Latino niche, the lesbian niche, the this niche, the that niche. And there is no cohesion anymore. Well, some people think this is a terrible thing. I happen to think it's a very good thing, because I think it makes us much more difficult to coerce and to control.
Yes.
So the ending of the age of mass media is something that the world corporate state has not really braced itself for, because it has so much money invested in these now dinosaur forms of media.
Sure.
So I think of the internet really as a 60 million television channel, a 60 million channel TV.
Sure.
And naturally that creates, and it's a two-way deal.
Yeah, right. It's interactive.
I think the only way to deal with media and keep your wits about you is to produce it, not consume it.
To wit.
God forbid, do not consume it, and then do not flee it. That doesn't work either. The people say, well, I don't. Well, they're just, they're know-nothingism, even more easily manipulated. The key is to produce, and things like Photoshop and Macromind Director, and I don't work for any of these people, but I use their products, are incredibly empowering. What used to require $50,000 worth of production equipment can now be done with $3, and the cost is falling. That's got to be good for the spreading of countercultural and minority viewpoints and opinions.
Sure. No, that's a very, very good point. In fact, I was thinking about the internet in this respect a little bit very recently, and I was realizing it's, in many ways, it's, another way of putting it is, it's a great equalizer. From a socioeconomic point of view, people who would never have anything to do with each other, necessarily, would never cross paths, are being given an opportunity to meet via the net.
And it's safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's safe. Yes, it creates a
people in absolutely distinct economic strata can come together.
Well, and no matter how minority your position, no matter how bizarre your interest, you can find a community of people on the internet absolutely
who share your views.
Who share your views and who are furiously advancing that agenda.
Yeah.
The other thing is, what the internet was designed for was research. And if you believe that information is power, then the information gathering research tool that has been given to the ordinary person to actually find out what the hell is really going on. I feel with my internet connection, I have better intelligence than Stansfield Turner had when he ran the CIA for Jimmy Carter. That's how fast these technologies. It's gone from what only the CIA director could have, that now sits on the desktop of millions of American homes.
Sure.
And what's that, 12 years or something like that?
So there's an incredible dispersion of information.
And acceleration of connectivity. Everybody's getting connected the way they wish. And of course, some of it is perverse and some of it is silly and trivial. But we had silly and perverse and trivial long before we had the internet.
Right. Yes. It didn't just all of a sudden arise, because people had a little desktop publishing computer on their desk. Right. Absolutely.